finances, wealth, wisdom, stewardship, legacy, God's design. Get ready to learn about the gospel of finance. Let's get started.
Effective retirement planning. How does it work? What does it entail? Why is it important? All these things need to be discussed and talked about if you're going to put something in place that's actually going to work for you down the road. Now, this is more advice for those that are younger versus older, because those that are already set inside of a retirement plan, I'll be honest with you, there's not too much that you can really do. But for those who are starting the journey, this is going to be vitally important, because you have to know certain things about how to structure your retirement so that you can effectively maximize your retirement when you get to that retirement age. Okay, now the first thing you need to understand is this, that you always have to begin with the end in mind. Always begin with the end in mind. Now, what does that mean? That means now that you need to determine before you start your process where you're going to land. You have to sit down and have a come to Jesus moment with yourself and figure out, okay, now when I get to retirement age, what does that look like for me? And what that looks like for me is basically this: what sort of cash flow do I need on a monthly basis to live? And I'm basing it on what I'm making today, here and now, multiplied times 30 years in the future. And you need to be able to sit down and work this thing out, because if not, then you're going to be the victim of product abuse. And product abuse is simply somebody putting you into some type of retirement vehicle, saying that, okay, well, this retirement vehicle is going to get you what you need. But when you get to retirement, you find out that, you know what, didn't quite cut it. All right. So you begin with the end in mind. You figure out where you want to be. So what does that mean for you? Do I need $10,000 a month? Do I need $5,000 a month? Do I need $3,000 a month? You know, you can estimate some of this by taking a look at what your Social Security is, and they'll give you an estimator based on when you retire, based on what you're currently making, as to what your Social Security would be. Now, keep in mind that they're saying between now and 2035, there may be a correction in Social Security, because if things are not fixed, as it were, with the government, then they may end up reducing Social Security by at least 25%. At least 25%. So you got to keep that in mind. But down the road, this is what we look at. Okay, you begin with the end in mind. What my number is going to be. Take a look at Social Security. Take a look at your retirement vehicles that you may have some things in place already. If you don't have anything in place, believe it or not, you're in a better position than most. But if you do have something in place, you can project to have the people that are working on your retirement, your 401k, have them give you a projection of where your money will be in the next 30 years. You have to take all of this into consideration and putting it down so that you can make the proper decisions. Okay, because again, you begin with the end in mind. How much money am I going to need? So once you get that part done, then from there is where you start looking at the vehicles, the products that you may end up using to help get you there. Now, for those that don't know any better, what they do is they'll go to what they call a retirement planner, and that particular retirement planner has no idea or no concept of the taxation that you will incur in 30 years. And that's part of what you need to take into consideration in 30 years. You got to take a look at taxation as well as cash flow. So I want to know what type of cash flow I'm going to have. Secondly, you have to take a look at what type of taxes you will incur. All right. And then from there, that helps you to put the products in place. And again, you run into some individuals that try to put you into a product, and then they'll try to craft their strategy around the product. That's not how you do it. You take the strategy, you put the strategy in place, and then from the strategy, you actually put the products in place to help get you to where you need to be. If that's not happening, then somebody's doing you a disservice. Okay, you're not going to end up being where you need to be. When you come down the mountain, when you retire, when you park the car, when you pull the boat into shore, when you decide I'm going to hang it up and I'm going to coast into the sunset, when that retirement time comes, what has to happen? Well, a couple of things, and this is where most people blow it. They blow it because they don't take in mind the taxation. All right, they don't take in mind the taxation, because what's going to end up happening is over the next 30 years, a couple of things are going to happen. Again, the value of the dollar will decrease. Why is it going to decrease? Because of two things. One, taxes will go up because they've been going up and they'll keep going up. And the cost of living will also go up. So what that means is the value of the dollar, the buying power of the dollar will actually go down. So you have to make sure that in your retirement strategy, you're accommodating these areas as well. So in the next 30 years, I do know that the value of the dollar is going to go down. I do know taxes will go up. So my buying power is going to be limited at best. So the one thing I don't want to do is put my money into a vehicle that's highly taxed. I.e. 401ks. So you don't want to use a 401k down the road because, again, I don't want to get into it. There was another video we did dealing with this, but 401ks were never designed for employees. They were designed for the employer, and they benefit employers more than they do employees. And with that, you have to take a look at Roth IRAs. You need to take a look at IULs, those type of strategies. Those type of platforms you can use in your strategy, because what you want to do is I want to be able to pool my money, as much money as I can, and it all be tax-free. Now, hopefully through legislation, you'll have the Social Security. I'm hoping within the next 4 or 5 years, Social Security will be tax-free. It needs to be, but that may or may not be the case. But if you had Social Security that's taxed at a lower rate, as well as a vehicle, Roth IRA, IUL, used for retirement, but the tax strategy behind that is to reduce your taxes altogether. And I said in one other video, I do have a client that is putting a large amount into an IUL, but they'll be receiving about $10,000 a month in perpetuity for the rest of their life once they move into retirement. Now, what that does for me, it decreases the tax bracket, strengthens your cash flow, guaranteed money, by the way, guaranteed money, because we put them in what was called a personal private pension. And that was a strategy that we used for this particular client. But you have to take a look at these things so that you can do the same thing. So those that are younger, you have a prime opportunity now to do these things and do them the right way. Those that are older, still may be some hope, but once you've jumped on that train, it starts moving, it's hard to get off. It's hard to get off. And I don't try to talk anybody off the ledge, because you have some individuals that they're adamant about their platform and what they're using. And if that's the case, then you go with it. Yeah, knock yourself out. I'm not trying to talk anybody off the ledge. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything, but I'm telling you as a strategist, as a tax strategist, retirement planner, tax strategy has to be a part of the equation. So if you're going to look at effective retirement planning, you've got to make sure that the taxes are calculated in that equation as well. So you know how much you're going to pay. And if you can eliminate or mitigate as much of those taxes as possible, that's what you want to do. So if that's not who you're working with right now, if your retirement planner has not done these things for you, if they have not talked about them for you, if they're not showing you on paper how this plays out, then you may be with the wrong person. You may be with the wrong person. So keep those things in mind. And one last thing. How do I know that I've planned properly? And it really comes down to something that we've talked about before, sort of summarizing everything we've talked about before. How do you know if you planned properly for retirement? It just depends on how much taxes you pay. If you're paying more in taxes or the same amount in taxes that you were paying while you were working, then you planned poorly. Or the person that was supposed to plan and help you plan didn't do a good job. Because again, cash flow, taxation, two critical areas that need to be dealt with before you start your journey, or you need to make a quick adjustment while you're on the journey if you're going to be where you need to be and land in the right spot in retirement. Keep those things in mind, and listen, we'll see you when you see them on the next go around.